What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zcash today, ZEC USD. It is the 16th day of November, and here we are at about $719, pushing for new relative highs. I want to look at this on Coinbase and just see what our volume's looking like. Yeah, we got good volume. 8 hours, 35 minutes left in this day. At this rate, I don't know if we'll see more volume than what we saw yesterday, but we're going to see consistently good volume, something that will certainly be above average. What we're looking for here is to push through. We don't want a double top. We don't want a rejection here. A rejection here really does get you set up to move below $400 before topping off at the area that we've intended. Now, I do want to say before we get too much further into this video, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. For a long time now, from a high to a low, the expectation has been that we would top off in this range, $711 to $925. We are in that range now. Okay, if anybody is thinking about buying Zcash, I would direct you to Dash. Dash is probably at a better price to buy. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Do whatever you want. But as far as which crypto has more growth left in it, Zcash is probably at the limitations of its growth potential. Okay, this is not a good time to buy. This is a good time to sell. With that being said, $720, I do think that we move up higher. We probably move up a whole like $150 higher than where we are now, which isn't incredible. But from this price, I mean, that's another like 20%, you know, if you want to hold out for that. But again, it just depends on what you're doing, right? If you bought here, you're in it for the short term. Okay, maybe it is worth it to hold until that level. If you bought all the way down here, or you bought here, or you bought somewhere very early on in this pump before it happened, and you're up here, I mean, is that extra 20% really worth it? It might be more worth it to start taking profits. It's all circumstantial, and it depends on your discretion to make that choice, right? But again, I do think that we move higher. With that being said, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again, but I do think that we move higher, and I specifically think we move to about $850 to $930, $877 being a key target to keep in mind there, right? And we get that $877 target. If we look at the Zcash chart, the all-time history, we take this prior cycle high to the bear market low there. Our 1272 is right there at $877. Now, it depends on what chart you use. If you're using this chart, it's the all-time history chart. It's $877. If we're using Coinbase, that price is a little bit different. Instead of $877, we are a little bit above $900. We're at $920. It's hard to say. You know, the difference there being wherever the high is and the low is here, right? So somewhere between about $870 to $930, something like that. That's what I would expect that we do. And we're not there, but we're very, very close. Let's look at the short-term stuff, and then we'll zoom back out, okay? Looking at the 1 hour time frame, let's just see how likely it is or isn't that we continue to push from here. It looks pretty good to me, right? We do have a lack in volume. Volume's dying off. Typically, when you're in a consolidation phase and your volume dies off, that means you're about to break one way or the other. Hopefully it's not the other. Hopefully it's the one way to the upside there, right? Kind of looks like an ascending triangle, kind of. It's almost like a double top within your overall double top potential, right? Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we don't do that. I think that we will move up to the upside. Let's look at our indicators here. The 1 hour, the RSI looks perfect, right? You're holding the 50 as support. The one thing that I don't like, if I had anything to like nitpick, is that I guess you're still holding this. Yeah, you got the higher lows. It looks good. It looks fine. Never mind. I don't got to be nitpicky. I was thinking that it looks more like this, and we're kind of breaking out of it. And maybe it's not the most well-respected structure, but you can see what I'm going for here, right? Higher lows. It looks good. It looks pretty damn good, actually. Let's be fair. Finding support at the 60, good things. You're getting ready to rally, and I think, man, wow, with this look, going into the end of the day, you should be above $800 or pushing those prices at least. Going into the end of today, end of this week, you should be pushing $800. And then next week, because this is the end of the week right here, right? We've got about 9 hours left in the day, 8.5 hours left in the day. Next week, we should top off early in the week at that 850 to 930 area and then move down. The rest of the week, I think, will be bearish, okay? Short sellers, get your shorts ready. That actually might not be good, right? Anybody who's been shorting Dash or Zcash has been hating their lives probably right now. Bullish divergence, nice, man. You're moving up. You look good. You do look good. Stochastics look good. RSI looks good. Everything looks good. 4 hour time frame here, also looking great. Holding support at the overbought zone. Coming up, you do have bearish divergence, but I'm not worried about that. Whatever. I think anybody worried about that bearish divergence is going to get wrecked. Stochastics look good. The MACD looks good too. We haven't even been building a drive of bullish momentum yet, so I think that we've really got this next push is it's going to come. 30 minutes left in this 4-hour time frame. I would expect the end of this day. Again, we do push toward $800. We might even close above 800 by the end of today, if not somewhere that is absolutely above these highs. That's what my expectation is. From a daily perspective, the RSI is set up for bearish divergence, right? You can see it here. I wonder how many people are counting on that bearish divergence, right? Yesterday, I'm sure there were a whole bunch of Zcash bears who were like, oh, we got the higher high. We got the lower high. There's bearish divergence. And here we are up another 8% on the day. And we're probably going to go up even higher. This bearish divergence will continue to get fed. It'll continue to get fed and fed and fed until we're up here. And then once we're at like our limits, I bet that's where we find resistance. Maybe we even get rid of the bearish divergence. Maybe we see a higher high. And then that's whenever we sell off. I don't know. But I would think that we get some bearish divergence as long as we're not making a stupendous move higher, right? Like to like $1,500 or something like that, which I don't expect. The stochastics are getting overbought, which is nice. It's good. And the MACD is building bullish momentum as well. But you do have bearish divergence presented on there. So bearish divergence presented on a couple of indicators here. Again, suggesting that we are probably near a topping point. It makes sense to me, man. The target area, again, if we look at this on the all-time history chart, you take your high to low from last cycle's high to the bear market low, 877 makes a lot of sense to me. Right there with that trend line, or with this fib extension, there is your prior cycle's all-time highs as well. Not last cycle, but the cycle before, all-time highs right there. I mean, it makes sense. You have a falling wedge like this, right, or maybe a descending triangle. When you break out of these patterns, typically you do return to the top of the pattern. That's actually a very common thing. That's like your measure move is to return to the top of these wedge patterns. And that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. And if you're one of those people who's bullish on Zcash, so bullish that you don't think it stops at 877, you've got this prophecy in your head that we're going to go all the way up to $1,000 or more. This thing isn't stopping till $1,000. Let me crap on that prophecy a little bit, right? You're at this point, you're at a 25x. You're a multi-billion-dollar asset in the crypto markets while everything else is down and having a terrible time. You're a multi-billion-dollar asset that has seen a 25x since August, since the middle of August. In a quarter of a year, you've seen 25x. You don't think that there's going to be room for consolidation there? What, you're just going to run all the way up to a 40x or more? 40x's happen, but when they happen at this pace, that's normally for low cap coins. You don't see that happen in multi-billion-dollar coins. Not that it can't happen. I've seen it happen before, but probably not going to happen. 1272 money zone right here with the 2886 and the 3113 and your prior all-time high, and not to mention the double top on the weekly RSI, the bearish divergence that's setting up on the daily time frames. It just makes a lot of sense that something around 877 to 930, somewhere in that area, that's where we're going to top off. I think this is going to be a legendary call, guys. I really do. And we've done very well with Zcash. We haven't been the best with everything, but everything, to be fair, has not really been performing as expected or as intended. So that just happens. But Zcash is definitely behaving well. I would expect then, if we find resistance here, it's very common after you find resistance at the 1272 or in this area at all, it's very common from the 1272 to pull back to your 886 to 786 area. So prices below $300 are absolutely on the table. What that would mean is that from, let's just say you do go to the 1272, 877, that we would see anything from a potentially a 70% drop to a 77% drop. Now maybe we don't go that low. Perhaps we hold the 100 as support. Typically you don't do that. Typically from the 1272 you go back to your 886 to 786 level. I have all these fibs on here. Let me clean it up so that it's a little bit less confusing. I'm sure a lot of you can follow, but sometimes it's confusing for people. I want to make it as clear as can be, right? It's very common to go from this zone back down to this zone. And if we do that, that's a bit of an extreme drop, right? For a multi-billion-dollar asset. Now, don't get me wrong, we did a 25x in 3 months' time. You might see some volatility, but 70% drop or more, you don't really get those kind of drops, right? Typically, it's like 30 to 60% drops in these bull runs that we see. So if we were to find support at the 100, which is possible, that typically happens in only very bullish outcomes where you go from the 1272 back down to your 100 for support, and then you move up like that. but we are in a very bullish chart, to be completely fair. Maybe we do see a drop like that, but that is still a 57% drop. All I'm trying to say is, regardless of where we go, we're likely going to pull back to prices that are well below $400, if not even below $300, maybe even below $200. It's completely possible, and all that's fine because that's just support at prior resistance. You'd be finding resistance at your prior cycle high, and then finding support at last cycle's highs, and then moving up. It's actually really good structure. So it's as crazy as it is, man. Zcash could see quite the dump after this, right? But that is the expectation. I would think that we probably consolidate then. If we top off, let's imagine it's next week. Okay, it's not today that we top off. Maybe it is today. Maybe we go up to 877 today, but probably sometime early next week. It'll be like Monday the 10th. I would think then that it would potentially be January, early January, that we are starting to move higher, that we are breaking out, that we are still consolidating. So I would think between now and the end of December, we will likely be moving down toward something below $400. Okay. So again, if anybody's thinking about buying here, hopefully it's for the very, very short term. Okay, just a quick little play. And if you're thinking of taking profits, I mean, I think that if you sold here, regardless if the price goes up, and none of this is financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but I think if you sold here and you just let that money sit for a month, I think you would know exactly what to do with it. I think if you just sold here, maybe you put it in a different crypto that's down right now, the rest of the market's down, those cryptos come up, I think you have the perfect chance to do a full rotation here. And again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Who am I to say what the best thing is? Maybe the best thing is to sell or wait to sell here, whatever, sell somewhere in the zone, put it in another crypto, and then it rallies. Maybe the best thing to do is to sell here, let that cash sit on the side, wait for about a month, and then I bet Zcash should be at a really good price to buy. Or also, with that being said, there's nothing wrong with holding, right? If you got in at a good position of strength, there's nothing wrong with holding. You will see some volatility, but likely we do have more to go. I thoroughly believe that Zcash, like maybe you don't want to sell because you don't want to claim taxes. I get it. And if you don't, I thoroughly believe that Zcash will go to $2,600 to $10,000 by the end of the cycle. There's more to go. It's not done here. But we're just going to consolidate. This exciting week after week stuff is going to come to an end probably in less than 7 days. Okay, that's my thoughts. But I'm rambling at this point. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. You guys know what it is, right? You know what it is. Here we are. We're going to see some volatility. I mean, even here, right, before we moved up, look at this, right? We consolidated here. This was from June. We didn't really break out until October. July, August, September, October. That was 4 months, right? I'm talking about a 2-month consolidation, let alone 4 months. And here, from a high to a low, we did drop about 70%. And we still moved higher. I don't think that we're just gonna move down and then we have one more move and then that's the end of the cycle. Maybe, but I do think that we can see a dramatic drop and still build higher prices. We saw a 70% drop once, and then from a high to a low here, we saw a 50% drop. We probably had multiple 50% drops throughout this range, right? It's not going to be an easy time. If you're assuming, and I'm trying to paint a clear picture here because everybody hears my words and they take them and make their own definitions of them. I want to try to be very, very specific, okay? We're not going to do this. We're not going to move up to 877, 930, top off there, and then move straight down for 2 months. That's not what's going to happen. We're not going to move up to this area and then move straight down to prices that are below $400. That's not what's going to happen. It's going to be volatile. It's going to be volatile. Maybe the initial drop is a straight down move, but there will be volatility. And then once we're done, once we find our low, it's not off to the races. There's more consolidation to go after that before we rally. So just understand, again, the environment that we're in. If you're buying Zcash here, you're not in a long-term position. You're in a short-term position. If you're in a long-term position, you're really getting yourself set up for some pain. But again, if you bought at these low points, if you bought at prices that are more desirable, you can kind of afford that pain, can't you? Right? That's just my thoughts there. But I got nothing else. I think I've said enough. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves, all right? And just prepare. We're going to get a little bit of volatility here over the coming days. Probably up to 877 or higher. And then the the long way home to $300 or more begins. I might go short. I haven't shorted anything, I want to say, since August. I haven't gone short on anything. Maybe I should have, right? Zcash might be one of the first coins that I short. I don't advocate for leverage trading. I don't think anybody should leverage trade, but it might be a good opportunity. Just leaving it at that. Anyways, hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.